Hi, everybody. It's Miss Simpson. I'm actually going to take a moment to read a personal narrative essay that I wrote. It's an example I did for an English class I'm teaching. So if you're looking for an example of a personal narrative essay, this might be something that gives you some ideas. So this is called Nobody Really Likes a Macaron. Last year, I became obsessed with macarons, not macaroons. That's an entirely different and infinitely less rage-inducing cookie. Macarons are delicious, delicate, French, and the most infuriating pastry known to mankind. I am an experienced baker. I make baguettes that look like they fell off the front cover of a magazine. I have baked and decorated wedding cakes that are as tall as I am, and I've seen my friends cry with amazement at their beauty. Every Christmas, I decorate 10 dozen intricate cookies that I give as gifts. I am not an amateur baker, not by a long shot. I figured macarons would be a piece of cake, like pun intended. So imagine my shock when a tiny cookie that only requires 5 flippin' ingredients knocked me down and stole my lunch money. I ordered special almond flour and parchment paper from Amazon, and the day the box of supplies finally came, I couldn't wait to unpack them and start baking. I gathered up my eggs and carefully separated the whites from the yolks. I placed the egg whites into my stand mixer and beat them to stiff peaks, just like the guy in the YouTube video. Things were off to a great start. I'd read about how finicky macarons could be, but so far, I just wasn't seeing the problem. I sifted the sugar and the almond flour, then carefully added it to the whites, folding them in exactly like the guy on the YouTube video. I added precisely 1 drop of pink food coloring to the mix. I folded the batter exactly 75 times until it ran off the spatula like a ribbon and formed a perfect figure 8 in the bowl. Into the pastry bag it went, and I piped perfect discs of batter, exactly 1.5 inches in diameter, exactly 1 inch apart on the parchment. Into the 200-degree oven they went for exactly 20 minutes. Easy peasy. When the timer went off, I carefully removed the baking sheets from the oven, leaving them to rest on a wire rack at room temperature for precisely 1 hour while I made the buttercream filling. Just like the guy in the YouTube video. Easy peasy. And when I tried to remove the cookies from the parchment, that's when the entire recipe literally fell apart. Those cookies were stuck like flies on flypaper. I have had more success unsticking 2 pieces of wood sealed with Gorilla Glue than I did separating those tiny little cookies from that paper. This did not happen in the YouTube video. The guy in the YouTube video didn't say anything about permanent adhesive properties or cookies that were totally hollow inside and crumbled like ashes in my hands. I'm an experienced baker. I know how to bake. How could one simple cookie so completely obliterate my confidence in my skills? Undeterred, I made another batch. And another. And another. All were failures of one sort or another. Too sticky, too dry, too hollow, too puffy, no feet, too flat. Each time I failed, I dug in deeper and grew more determined to beat those dang little cookies into submission. By the 3rd attempt, my 11-year-old daughter would see the almond flour out on the kitchen counter and immediately do a 180 while yelling, "Nope!" On the 4th try, I was so determined to actually eat a macaron that I used a spatula to scrape the ruined mess off the parchment, formed it into something like a golf ball made of disappointment and sugar, and squirted buttercream onto it and shoved it into my mouth. It wasn't exactly satisfying. By the 5th time, I was stringing together combinations of swear words in such new and inventive ways that sailors on shore leave were encouraging me to start a blog. It's been a year. I've probably spent $150 on supplies and have yet to actually produce a decent macaron. I last tried in August. Yep, another failure. I was defeated. It was time to walk away. I learned that French bakers have skills I will probably never achieve or even understand. Heck, they probably have magic powers or have made some sort of bargain with the devil. But I also learned that it's okay to fail. It's okay to love doing something and not be the best at all parts of it. I had let my competitive nature and stubbornness turn my hobby into something miserable. I stole my own joy by digging in and doing something just to prove a point. Honestly, I don't even like macarons. I think they're simultaneously flavorless and too sweet, and they have a weird texture, kind of like dried gum. Now that I'm back to making recipes that I know and love, I've found my joy in the kitchen again. Not everybody needs to know how to make a macaron. Chocolate chip cookies are just fine.